My least favorite excuse that people give is I don't have time, because that's not true. Everyone has the same amount of time. It's either a priority or it's not a priority, right?
Yeah.
You could say I didn't have the time to date that day.
I did.
You didn't have it, right? You didn't have it. But if I said
New Year's resolution,
if I'd have said, oh, really? Well, I have a sponsor here that wants to pay him $5,000, but we have to do it today.
Yeah.
You would have had time,
Sheesh.
right?
Yeah.
Or whatever that number is, or some kind of benefit. But you look for mutual benefits.
Yeah.
I keep it real and stay flipping keys, no way. Eating good, I got a lot on my plate, but this is what I wanted, so I can't complain.
The Minority Reports Podcast, where we keep it real, estate, and entrepreneurship education for the minority of 3% action takers. Here's your host, Billy the Kid, and co-host, Dan Delgado.
I did it. It worked.
Dude, that's gonna blow people's
I
like
should have
eardrums
kept that
out.
like throughout the show. Actually,
I'm gonna have to mute you for the first
sorry,
10 seconds. People are like
whoever's
getting into
listening.
car accidents right now. Asshole.
Car accident.
It's New Year's Eve.
Man, I'm hyped up. It's New Year's Eve.
Is this like your holiday? Because you're so excited about it.
It is.
He's got the bling on today.
I'm not. Actually, I'm showering again later too.
Oh, shower.
Yeah, we're having a little house party.
This dude gets running water. Look at him.
Rob's seen the parties. We get down, right? I mean, it's funny because I'm like DJ Billy the Kid, but I just throw Spotify on.
What time does the party start?
Hey, we're not putting that in. At 8.
Did you say my tamales? You ate them, didn't you? You asshole.
You know what?
You ate my
I think
tamales.
we did. No, I think we do have them because Desiree bagged them up.
Okay.
But yeah.
Your wife is a saint if she was able to keep my tamales
Keep them away from me.
Yeah.
It's been like 3 weeks though.
Nah, dude, it's been like 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yeah.
These last couple weeks have been crazy.
No, yeah, we're excited. It's funny, real quick. What's your favorite top 3 holidays? Because mine, and I'll answer that question real quick, and then you can answer.
So you asked me a question.
I know.
Okay.
I'm super excited. Because me and my daughter were having this conversation, and I think mine is Christmas, New Year's, and 4th of July. And 4th of July too, we have a nice little get together with all our neighbors, and we close the street. So, anyways, I just love having a good time. I think it's that's what life is about, So, what's yours?
So actually, I grew up not celebrating holidays at all.
Oh, that's right.
It's a religious thing. And so when I was in my late teens, when I was in my late teens, I was like, I don't do religion at all now. But and it's kind of funny because I went from not celebrating holidays to like Halloween is my jam, dude. Like, lately, the last couple of years, I haven't done such a good job of it. But when it was just me and my daughter, like we would just, dude, I was broke. I was barely feeding the two of us. But I was like, every year we're at the dollar store getting all these little decorations. It's cheap ass thing that lasts 1 year, Yeah. And that was like our thing. Like we always did that. And even to this day, I'd probably venture to say that it's probably my daughter's favorite holiday too. And I think it's because it has a special meaning to us because it was just us at the time.
I agree. Same with my girls. That's probably our 4th. There's top 3 actually.
Really?
Right?
Yeah, I know. So I definitely Halloween. My brother's birthday's on 4th of July, but we also didn't do birthdays growing up, so I guess it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess Christmas is not. I like Christmas because just people really make it a priority to spend time with family, and we get to spend time with my wife's family, and and I know for the kids they love it. Yeah. So I would say Christmas, and then I don't know if I have a third favorite. Maybe Labor Days because I get it off.
Yeah,
for a lot of Labor.
I fucks with that.
I like that Monday off, man. That's nice. But yeah,
my birthday too. I like my birthday.
Well, I guess when I was I bartended for like 11 years. Yeah. So New Year's was always nice. That was a payday. It was up until 3 years ago. I never had a New Year's that I could celebrate. I was always bartending and working. So I probably should take advantage of that. Yeah. Maybe I'll just get crazy at your house tonight.
Time you wanted to,
right? I wanted to so bad. Actually, funny was the biggest thing back then was that I never had someone to kiss at midnight because I was so busy. Even if I had someone, no, I'm good. But no, like it was always kind of like a thing, like all these fucking people like sitting here making out, I'm making drinks, and I was like getting all tired. I'm watching, so it was like sad '80s movie of me watching people. But now I got my beautiful wife, and so she'll probably be asleep, so I'll just go be a creep and kiss her while she's sleeping.
I'm excited for today, but real quick before we do the book of the week, I did a song, The Power of Being Uncomfortable. I literally just recorded it, and by the time this airs, because this will be in February, right, is what we're shooting for this.
This will be February, yeah.
So it should be out already. It comes out January 14th. So by the time you're watching this, The Power of Being Uncomfortable, the actual song, it's motivational, inspirational. I slowed it down a little bit. So check it out everywhere, Spotify, Pandora. Let's get it. What's book of the week?
Wait, I wasn't listening because I was reading a text. What was it?
The Power of Being Uncomfortable. I did a song.
You did a song.
Soundtrack. Yep.
Oh, I think I saw your post about that.
Yeah.
I haven't heard the song
I'm
yet.
to send it to you.
I feel like you should send me songs before you talk about them.
I know. I was.
Because I give you honest feedback.
Yeah.
So.
I thought of it this time, actually. But
no, I think I saw some posts.
Yeah. I put a little clip of the audio. So, yeah, it's out now, though, if you're watching. So, and the book, too. January 3rd was the dropping date.
So it'll already be out by now.
Yep. Check it out. What's book of the week, man?
Yeah, so I had to leave myself notes because it's been a year and a half since I read it, but I do remember liking it a lot. It's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. I'm sure have you read that one?
Yeah.
It's funny because like it initially drew me because it's got a controversial title or whatever. It's got a bright orange cover and stuff. And
most of their books do too. Yeah.
I think I pride myself in being the type of person that doesn't give a fuck about what other people think about me.
Yeah.
But there, I think that's like it's a slippery slope because there's people that are like complete douchebags where they're like, they don't give a fuck what you think, but it's to the side of like, they're also inconsiderate pricks type thing, and that's not what I am at all.
Yeah,
I'm still very considerate of other people. To you, but that's it. But no, I mean the book is actually surprisingly it's a lot deeper than that. Mark talks about how success doesn't have to necessarily equal happiness. And, he gives a few examples of, and I can't remember the names, but it was the guy, I wish I could remember the names, but this guy that started like Megadeth, he was actually originally kicked out of Metallica, but Metallica wasn't big yet. And so he's just like, he got kicked out of Metallica before they got big. Yeah. I want to say he was their drummer, but so he got kicked out of Metallica, or maybe that was the Beatles one. I don't know. But anyway, he got kicked out of the band. And then he ended up like, he started Megadeth, who's a huge, a band, but they were never like a Metallica. And apparently, this guy like spent his life just trying to get back at the guys at Metallica, because and so he had great success with Megadeth because they were a huge band, but he never found happiness because that's all he focused on. And then there was another example of like, another band member of the Beatles that was kicked out before the Beatles got big. Yeah. And this guy was able to take that and turn it around to a positive thing. And he was able to focus on the things in his life that really mattered to him. And he did find happiness.
That was one of the reasons why I liked that book was because of the music concepts.
Yeah, there was a lot of music in it. And then there was another deal where he talks about that, you only have a limited number of fucks to give. So like ration them accordingly. Yeah. And so basically what he's talking about is like prioritizing, like, is it worth, okay. So for example, one example was, I want to say he was talking about making like a website or something like that, or like a social media page. Like, do you want to spend 10 hours giving a fuck about making a logo, or do you want to start working on the content that's actually going to make that page or that website or that YouTube channel
that's huge
important? And I found myself doing that too before. Like I get caught in those little details of like, I got to make sure this logo is perfect, or like, with me doing my video editing and that other business that I do, I get caught in that. And like, now I've gotten to the point where like, no, I don't care about that. I'm going to hire that portion out, figure out what's the meat of the matter in that situation. Yeah. And then he goes into, and I'll just close off with this one, but he also goes into people that care so much about like self-help and becoming a self-help junkie. And I think that there's a very slippery slope there where some people really, really just all they're doing is watching self-improvement, videos and podcasts and those books and audiobooks, and it can get so exhausting. I find myself sometimes too, like with real estate investing or with self-improvement, like I have a long drive to work every day. And so I will get caught up in all these podcasts and all these books and YouTube. And, as much as I love Grant Cardone, I can only listen to him so much because it's just like, it bogs me down. And I have to sometimes like, dude, like I got to listen to something, but I back off.
Yeah. Watch this one. Yeah.
I back off a little bit and I'll just like, listen to a book about like a zombie apocalypse because it's like, I don't want to say it's mindless because it's still something. Yeah. But you got to back off of that stuff because it's a slippery slope.
That concept, I was just talking to my oldest, because with this whole social media, I just had a talk with her, hey, social media. But what I told her was that
says the guy with 80,000 followers. Okay.
But what I told her was that anything, and it doesn't necessarily have to be that, but I think anything that you do in life, you have to do it to where it doesn't become an addiction. And
in moderation, everything in moderation.
Because that could be an addiction, listening to books and, all this. But it's not just that. It's also beers, for example. Just because you see us drinking a beer here, it doesn't mean that I do that every single day and I'm addicted and that's what my life revolves around. Or social media. I mean, anything, food. It's actually a sin to overeat,
So gluttony.
No, and that's the thing. It's like any little thing can become an addiction. So I think it's a matter of kind of even out your life, but.
And, it's kind of funny how it worked out because that theme of just doing your own thing and not giving a fuck about a lot of things, it works into the theme today with our guest. Yeah. And like this dude is doing his own thing on his own somehow, and it's mind blowing. Like the point where he said, "Yeah, I'll do this on my own." Like, how is that even possible? But
today, man, who do we have today? Let him know.
Nick Castaneda.
I got a horn in the sun, bro.
Oh, you do have a horn.
You were looking at me like,
what are you doing?
If you're watching the video, you should. If you're not watching the video, watch what I just did. But anyways, super excited today, man.
Got a good one.
We say that every episode, so that's good. But this time, for real. Real quick, man, if you could tell us who you are and where we're at before we get going.
My name's Nick Castaneda. We're in Lincoln, Nebraska at the Kindler Hotel. My hotel.
My hotel.
Monopoly
love it. Love it. Usually at the beginning of the show, we like to, real quick, if you could give us a quick recap of your life, where you're from, and how you got into where you're at now.
I'm not going to be able to recap my life quickly. How much time do you have?
An hour 15.
Yeah.
All right. So I come from the Bay Area, from a town called, actually it was originally in Oakland and then Livermore, California, where I grew up. I left there in 1998 when I headed to Colorado. And then I made my way, followed a girl to Arizona, like many of us have wrongly done at times. And so I was headed down there. I didn't really have much going on, much money, other than I thought it'd be a good idea to go to ASU because I'd heard that's a kind of a fun place to go. And it turns out it is. But I had a money problem at the time. So I worked a little bit that summer and saved some money, $300 and some dollars saved. And then I had a place to stay when I got there. So somebody I knew, a couch, but still somebody I knew. So what happened was I was driving my car down. It's about a 12-hour drive from the Bay Area. But it was August, I was getting ready for school to start. So August, the temperatures down there can get up to 115 degrees, but that day it was like 118. Mm-hmm. And humidity was kicking too. I didn't realize there's monsoon that comes up from Mexico. A lot of people think it's a dry heat. It's not. It's hot as shit.
Oh no, we encourage it.
Yeah. And so I was driving there. So my oil light came on because it started spilling oil. And I had a Jeep and it was a CJ7 and the oil was spilling out. And so I had to figure out what it was. Turns out it was just a loose valve on there and it expanded in the heat. So I didn't, but I pulled into the oil place. My dad always told me, if the oil light comes on, you don't even drive. So I pulled into this place. I was in Phoenix, made it there. And when I got in there, I was parched because the top was down. I had no air conditioning. So I went to buy a drink and in a vending machine and lost my money. So I went to the front desk and the guy's like, look, man, there's no refunds. And it's like, well, do you have any drinks? But no refunds. He's like, that machine's always broken and, whatever. You want a drink, you get me a machine, I'll get you a drink. But I get rid of this guy. And it's like, well, I don't know. I think I can probably get you a machine. I was thinking of neat things to do. And this was before the internet, actually. And there was newspapers. So
what year was this?
1988, 89, going into 89, 89. And so I went to the newspapers looking for vending machines, but I only had like $300 and some dollars, and I was finding used ones for like in the 700 range. Mm-hmm. So so anyway, I just kind of thought about that and it stuck with me. I did have enough to get my oil. It's only $19 in oil change. Mm-hmm. So I got where I was going and my friend where I was staying, they only had a swamp cooler. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but it doesn't really work when it's hot. It's just water that goes through like a blower. So It was hot. So I didn't want to be there during the day. So I went to ASU because the Arizona State, they had a business library there that was like 70 degrees. So I went there and I'd sit there all day and just kind of read and figure out what I'm going to do. But when I was walking there, I went through this like little area. Well, it turns out this was the start of like when anyone could get a credit card, right? So they offered me a credit card. I'm like, well, I don't make any money, And they were like, yeah, it doesn't matter. Like you just, hey, if you give social security number, I said, yeah, I put it down. So wrote a social security number down. So I filled it out. And I said, well, what's my, credit line? They're like, I don't know. We have to call in. So they call in, comes back. And it was like $750 was the deal. Right. So I was like, all right, I'll take that. So now maybe got my vending. So I called up this place that had the used vending machines. And I talked to the guy there. It was out on the other side of town. I said, hey, do you still have this Coke machines there? Yeah, we got them. I said, how much? Well, $750 for this one. It was like exactly the right number. But I can't really pay the $750 because if I do, how am I going to haul it, do all the other, whatever. So I got there. I took my credit card. So you take credit cards? He's like, yeah. I said, okay, get out there. And I looked at this machine. I said, okay, I'll give you $650 for the machine, but then $100 to you, but you got to haul it for me in the trucks and set it up, show me how to use it, show me how to fix it. And I got to give me 3 months on that. And he was like, no problem. You make $3 an hour. He's making $3.50 an hour at the time. He's like, I make $3.50 an hour, even $100. I'll do it for you. So I read.
Danny, so at that time, $100 was $100.
Yeah. And his name was Dale. And he was excited because he got $100. And I was excited because I didn't pay anything yet.
Yeah.
Just slid it. So I get out there, we get it set up, and he's like, I talked to the owner, or the guy at the front. And it turns out he was the owner. I didn't know, but because those guys are owner operators, and he was kind of a gruffy man. He turned out to be a nice guy, but initially, so he's like, I went back and reminded him. He's like, oh yeah, that's fine. Thing doesn't work anyway. Get it out. And he said, look, you have to leave to acclimate because of the weather. You have to plug this thing in for like 10 days because they get cool, and so that because otherwise, when you put the drinks in, they're going to explode if it's hot. Because this thing was 110 degrees, and it takes time to acclimate, right? You don't think about that, but when you're in extreme heat, right? So, but that 10 days, I had to figure out how I was going to fill it because it took over like close to $2,000 worth of sodas it was full. Damn. If it was full, but like you didn't have to fill it, you could partially fill it, right? And so I don't know. I plugged it in. I went back to the business center there, and I was just hanging out there reading the Wall Street Journal, and because it was there, and it was talking about people that were in poverty line and so forth, and food stamps and welfare, and then they had like a little table with all of like the bullet points of what qualifies for that. I hit every single one of them. Net worth of under, nothing, income of nothing, supports himself at this point, not on anybody's medical insurance. So I went down to the Department of Economic Security and I applied for food stamps and I got approved. And it was $325. It was quite a bit for first 2 weeks. Well, so I went, at the time you go there and they give you, like, you qualify and then you get your stamps, so I actually got like a thing, stamps,
like the actual book,
like, it's like so I got the stamps. So I'm like, okay, now I'm going to be able to fill this machine because not fill it, but like $325.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I went back to the business center, got my newspaper again, looking for the coupon ads. So it was, and I found like 99 cents 6 packs, but maximum 2 and whatever. So I ended up getting about $500 and some because I went to every grocery store and filled them up, put them in my Jeep, stacked them up, took it back, started filling it. Dale come over, help me out with, how it needs to be. Well, it's still August, right? So, and I was the most efficient vending machine owner because I only had one and I was there and so every Sunday I had to go back and fill it. So the first week, like it took off and I was selling product and I had to go midweek, but I was still getting my food stamps. So I could fill that, but also I was starting to make profit because we were selling Cokes at the time for 50 cents and my cost was probably around 15, 15 to 20 because we're buying in bulks and different schemes, maybe 20. So, and then the operator is very happy with me because, just, he didn't care about the machine. I gave him a little commission, 10%, but he was mostly concerned about, the customers weren't sitting there for an hour hot and, having drinks. So he said to me, he's like, hey, do you want to do the, gumball machines and other stuff. I was like, yeah, I got a little extra money. And so I developed a deal with the vending machine guy. I got that. Turns out he had 5 locations. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit. So now I started expanding locations with him. So I ended up with 5 locations with him. Then he called me in and I thought he was going to want more commission, but he wanted me to meet with someone else. You guys heard of Buffalo Wild Wings?
Oh yeah.
All right. So Buffalo Wild Wings, there's a place we have, it's called like Famous Sam's. It's the same thing. So he brings a friend of his who's going into business, and he's going to open 5 locations. This is a couple years later, actually a year and a half later. I'm about 19, 20. And he wants me to expand to cigarette machines, believe it or not, pool tables, condoms, tampons, tattoos, the tattoos and all of it. So I'm like, yeah. So I expand. So I'm sitting on 10 locations, still living like at a friend's house. And I'm taking my money, and like, it's really inefficient what I'm doing. I mean, it's just sort of just taking cash and buying with cash and then stacking cash and whatever. But I had to go. My roommate there, he says to me, "Hey, did you do your taxes or anything yet?" I'm like, "No, a couple of years." He's like, "You didn't get busted. You have to go do taxes." Like, well, what do you do when you need taxes? Where should I go? And he's like, "Go to H&R Block." And that's when like people go. Right? I was like, "Okay." So I walked in H&R Block, and there's this woman there from Spain. She says, "How can I help you?" I said, "I need to do my taxes." And she said, "Okay. Well, how much? Where's your W-2 or what your? I know what that is. I don't have one.
Mm-hmm.
Where's your 1099? Don't have that. Where's your cost of goods sold?" I told her what I was doing. I missed every point, every mark. I'm a freshman in business school, but they don't teach you any of this in high school, right? They teach you anything in high school,
I agree.
About a business or anything. So she goes, "Well, how much did you make last year?" I said, "Well, 102,000, 2,000." And I was 19. She was like, "That's a lot." I said, "Well, I'm just doing these machines. I have 10 locations. I kept track of like sort of my profit, but I don't know, I don't have my receipts."
Yeah.
She's like, "All right." And she gave me this book, and she goes, "Here, pretend like you didn't come in here. Okay." She goes, "Take this book, but I want you from now on to keep track of all these things." And she said, "You also, you could get a deduction if you buy it property, and it seems like you have the money enough to buy it."
Oh,
so
wow.
It was like $80,000 and I had it. She's like, "So I would suggest buying a duplex, and then you live on one side. That'd be like free rent, and have some on the other side." Right?
You got that from the H&R Block lady.
By the way, I work at Merrill Lynch. She's still my client. So,
really? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So anyway, I went and did that, and I moved somebody in, and then I would save up money and then buy another one, and then save up, buy another one. And, then I had this goal as a kid. I was going to get a Ferrari, so I did buy that. But that was later.
Nice.
That was later. 27. Everyone just said, "Oh, Dad's car, nice."
That's awesome.
But anyway, I saved up this, and then I moved into the one side, and I'd move out. Well, I kind of repeated that, and then I got through ASU business, and then went on to do.
So you still went through college?
Oh yeah. I was still working, and went on to do an MBA as well. And then after that, I got hired by an investment bank called UBS. It's an investment bank. And at the time, the tech boom was going on, right? So this was in the 90s when it was like really.
Yeah.
So we were working, I don't know, like 6:30 in the morning till about 9 o'clock at night. And then Saturdays about 8 to 2. But we were working.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd get bonuses mostly at the end. So I would take the bonuses, I'd get stock, I would keep that. But any kind of cash bonus, I would just buy more real estate, because I want balance it out. At this point, I'm starting to know a lot more.
Yeah.
So balance it out. So long and the short of it, a few years ago, I end up, I moved on to different firms, and I would get paid when I got bought out of a firm. So I ended up at Morgan Stanley, then now I'm at Merrill Lynch. I've been there for 10 and a half years. And then the buyout money, I never spent on stock. I always bought real estate with it to offset. And those became substantial at some point. And so I ended up with 103 paid off houses and apartments units.
Wow.
How much time has gone by at this point then? Sounds like maybe 10 years.
Not more than that. 20. Well, since the beginning. I mean, we're talking about 30
I guess between like the vending machine and
30. That's
we're talking about 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah. I did sell the vending machine business to another kind of a kid that at the time, because the owner, I had a Ferrari there, and I was driving my Ferrari to do the vending machine stuff. And he's like, "You know what? You should give someone else a chance, because, you had a chance, and, and he had somebody for me, and I sold it to him for pretty cheap, and I didn't really want the time commitment at that point, because my opportunity cost and time spent. I was only doing it because I liked the guys, and I would sit there and watch football on Sundays and count quarters, and and they'd give me a grilled cheese and a beer, you know what I mean? So I like that.
Yeah.
So I still talk to one of the guys, but anyway, so I ended up giving it to a kid, and he took it over, and then I went on working at other companies, and then I hired several people, which is kind of where I learned the Spanish, to manage the properties and employ them for years, and we'd rehab and rent.
Were they all in Arizona?
Everybody, yeah. Well, no. I mean, I had Arizona, Columbus, Ohio, Cleveland, San Diego, Las Vegas, Dallas.
How'd you expand out of state like that with real estate?
It's easy. I mean, you just go look at it and hire management companies in deep state, and then do it. I mean, I went by what was good value, what rental value, where was a renting demand, and the rents outpaced whatever the mortgage would have been.
But I guess so dumb question. Like, did you just flew in randomly, or did you
have
an agent there? Or?
No, at this point I was on the internet trying to figure out the value cities, which ones are the values, which ones aren't. Arizona right now is the worst value in the country. I think they've been the highest returns 3 years. That's why I sold everything, But as I was selling these properties, I mean, some of these properties I was paying $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 for, fixing them up. I'm selling now for $500,000.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was a long time ago, but still.
Yeah.
And the average was probably 8 to 9 times what I paid, because I bought them during the Great Recession when everything was down.
Yeah.
And that time the stock market was up. So I sold the stocks, bought them, and it was down at the moment. And then I took those properties, and then that became funding to buy commercial properties, which here, 5 years ago, I started this project, but I don't know if I told you guys, I bought another building, paid cash in Kansas City in the Power and Light District.
No,
so I've got a brand new hotel coming. It's going to be a Kindler in the Power and Light District. It cost me Ambassador, which is currently the best hotel there. We will be the best when we finish.
Nice. Man, I agree.
So I bought one.
This mood here, man, is amazing.
I bought one there, and then I've also just purchased a building in Baltimore, and I'm going to be in the harbor. It's in downtown Baltimore as well. We're doing this Kindler hotel there as well. That one's an interesting story, and that's only 2 weeks old. I'll tell you that. Do I need to go in sequence, or do you?
Man, no, go ahead. Yeah.
So a couple of months ago.
Real quick, how many Kindlers are out there right now?
There's only this one now, and then I've got a Frisco. I've got a skyscraper in St. Louis, but that's my name, Castaneda. That's Castaneda Frisco.
Yeah,
that's a big skyscraper, but that's all like banks and lawyers and architects and like nails places and all that kind of stuff. ACLU's headquartered with us as well. Yeah, it's mostly all liberal leaning businesses who I focus on, and people who help, and left wing activists and no ICE or none of that stuff.
Yeah. Why'd you look at me like that? And okay, real quick, I want to bring this up because you mentioned you're from the Bay Area. I saw a picture of you and Madden, and rest in peace to Madden.
Yeah, just passed away.
He just passed away a couple of weeks ago. You're a Raiders fan too.
A big time.
Same here. So, man.
So that Madden picture. So where that was taken was, I mean, I go down a lot of paths here. I used to be a figure skater. Christiane Miguchi had won the Olympics, and there was a party for her that actually the Raiders and the 49ers threw together. It was like for the greatest athletes and she won best athlete of the Bay Area, but they all attended, and she was good friends with like Ronnie Lott, and actually really good friends with Ronnie Lott. But he was a 49er, right? So I was like, but she invited me. She didn't have a boyfriend, so as a friend, she's like, "Do you want to just be my +1, to go to this?" I'm like, yeah, of course. So I went to this, and I ended up getting seated next to Miss America and John Madden and her. So and Plunkett, and then also you had all the 49ers with like Montana Rice and all of those, everybody, because they were there to celebrate her, right? And so I got to go to this event, and I got to meet and talk to John Madden, which was like kind of my biggest hero, because he's the big focus of the coach, the Raiders, and that kind of thing. And so that was that party, and I just had that picture, and so I posted it the other day.
Man, that's
he
awesome.
Passed away. I'm 6'2" and pretty big, and I look like a little tiny guy. You see how big he looks? His head is massive. So it's a big dude. It's a big dude. And then, I heard he used to hit the players too, but he'd be a force. He's probably 350 pounds or something.
Yeah.
He seemed like a really nice guy.
And
I mean, I admired him on Monday Night Football. I mean, I don't think Monday Night Football has been the same since he was on it.
I agree. Yeah.
Al Michaels and all the guys.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
But yeah, so that's how I got to know him, to meet him. I never got to know him.
And then you also, off air, we were talking about Elon Musk, that you went to a presentation he did.
Yeah, it was a presentation for a firm that was promoting some of his products and stuff. Really interesting to see him too. And
what was one thing that stuck out that you learned from that presentation from him?
That there are bad questions. That's what I found out.
He literally said that.
Not everything's a good question.
That's funny because society says the other way.
Yeah. Exactly.
Society's like, there's no such thing as dumb questions.
Yeah.
No, I work in IT. There are some dumb questions.
There's some dumb questions, and so I was explaining the Baltimore one that just came up a couple of months ago. I went in and I saw this building, and ideally located in the financial district where I wanted to be. It was going to auction because they were going to auction off to try and get higher bids. And I went and looked at the county records on it, and the county records had in it the derelict building. It needs everything. $2,774,000 was county. Usually figure like 80% over that sort of starting point. So probably in the 3.5 millions to fours, and then see where it goes. Right. So anyway, I was looking at the thing, but I have. At the time, I've been spending money in Kansas City because I'm going forward there. That's probably going to be 25 million or so. Maybe probably around there. So, so I was looking at it. I'm like, man, I really would like to take this one down for the next one, but that's too much cash because I didn't have that much cash. I had $1.1 million or something in cash, and I would have to, and it was coming up on Monday. So this was like that week, and I'm trying to figure out like, what can I do? And so I go through the listing and I'm reading about the seller, and it comes up Alex Brown and Sons, LLC. Right? I'm like, Alex Brown's the original investment banker that started investment banking. Investment banking started in Baltimore, didn't start in New York. So yeah, and he'd become a millionaire in 1700s, 1800, which at that time it's like Elon Musk or something, right? So and he started investment banking. So I'm a big fan because I'm like a geek when it comes to like anything investment related history and stuff like that. So I asked the broker on the other side. I called him. I said, hey, his name's Ari. I said, Ari, is this Alex Brown's sons? Is this the family of Alex Brown? Is it his family, direct descendants? And he went, yeah, it is. I'm like, oh, I'm a big fan of that and so forth. I said, all right. So I'll tell you what, I said, I want you to make them an offer, and I want to take this off the auction. Tell them I'm willing to pay 1.1 million for this. And he'll have to. He went, the county records are 2.775 million and it's 4 million. Yeah. I said the Brown family in 1999 took a payout for the sale of Alex Brown to Deutsche Bank. It was 1.7 billion that went to the family. I said they should be all right at the moment. And I said the growth since that time doubled. They're worth 3 billion conservatively. Yeah. And he was like, well, what's your point? They're selling the bill. I said, yeah. I said, can you give me your license number? He's like, why, you filing a complaint? I go, no, I'm not filing a complaint yet. I said, but I said, you have to present all offers because that's the rules of a broker. Man, fiduciary, right? Fiduciary responsibility. Yeah. He's like, all right, so I'm going to write you a letter. It's going to be a simple letter, but I need you to present this to your client before the auction. And he said, okay. So basically what the letter said was this: listen, my name's Nick Castaneda. And I put links. I work for Merrill Lynch Investment Bank, and I'm a fan of Alex Brown, the history of your family. It's not a lie. It's like, I actually am. And I can see that your history in Baltimore is important, or your lineage. I currently built the Kindler Hotel. I built another one in Kansas City, which is taking more of my resources right now that I'm committed to. But I'm able to give you a 1.1 million cash. And it goes hard the moment you accept the offer. There's no contingencies, anything like that. Just straight for the building, 30-day close. You can have the cash the first day and just have to do all the record keeping, close it. And I want to take this building. I'm going to dedicate the theme of it to your great-grandfather. It's going to be based on Old Wall Street from 1800, mixed with my father-in-law, who makes, some copper art and that passed away. And we're going to merge it into a 5-star boutique hotel. And your name's going to live on forever so that your generations come visit. And I sent it to them. And they countered with accept. They didn't counter with anything else, just accepted the offer. Wow.
So there's a lot of nuggets in there, but the one that sticks out is like writing that letter. How even how this last summer, the housing market here in Lincoln, and it was actually in the country. It was just crazy, right? People offering more than people competing for the same house. And I actually know a couple family members and friends that when they made the offer, they actually wrote a letter. And I was just thinking of that while you were saying that. It's just amazing how important that like you don't think of that. And maybe you should, like anybody listening, we should probably write a letter like that for every transaction.
I mean, I think it depends. This was a different one because think about it. Okay, so let's say that property. I think the property in the auction would have gone 3.5 to 4 million.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So they left 2.5, 3 million on the table. 1.7 billion invested. If you make an average return, they make that back before the escrow closes, right? So the lead bid wanted to turn it into some kind of resource center using city funds for. It was a little bit of a greasy thing that would carry on no tradition and no memory of the family.
Yeah.
So at what point do you have enough money, and does it become important? I mean, would they pay me $3 million to make a museum to their
right?
Maybe. Like maybe that's the thought.
Yeah.
I mean, if I get to be older, this guy's in his 70s, and I own 7 hotels, and someone comes to me and they say, "Listen, I'm going to operate this for 100 years. I'm going to pass it on. Here's my lineage, and here's what I'm going to do." And someone else says, "Hey, I'm going to turn it into a warehouse and put storage of chairs." And you know what I mean? There's a different
yeah.
So obviously the name meant something to them, right? So now I called my brother. You might know my brother, Arnie. Have you met Arnie? Anyway,
we have spectators, guys, on the back.
We have audience for the first time.
We have audience today. Actually, shout out to Big Rob sitting on the back. You guys went to school together.
We did, yeah. So my brother said to me, he's like, "Oh, listen, you know what you can do?" He's like, "Just buy it and then put it back on the market auction yourself and make $3 million." I would never do that.
Wow,
no,
horrible,
man.
It's legal. It's legal.
Yeah.
But I would never do that. I actually, if I had to sell it, I would just give it back to them for what I paid.
Yeah.
And say,
and
then they could sell. That's
well, because you were keeping it real with that letter, like you actually.
I mean what I said.
Yeah, exactly, and their legacy, like you, it was somebody that you looked up to. So
yeah, big time, and not only that, like he started. He never left Baltimore, and he maintained his business from Baltimore. He ended up selling Deutsche Bank and Raymond James, which it kind of split. This is hundreds of years later, but he had one son that sent to Liverpool, because in Liverpool, England at the time, they were doing trading of silver, gold, materials, everything. And then he had one in Wall Street, and that sort of the beginning of Wall Street. And so he had like this corner going, but Baltimore was a big financial center at the time. At the time, the biggest financial centers were Baltimore, Cleveland, St. Louis, and missing one, Pittsburgh, because those were all industrial. Right. So that was the industrial age when we were just getting going. That was the internet boom of the materials and that kind of thing. So train, Carnegie. So that was what was going on there.
Yeah.
So, but with this family, I want to, they're going to have. I can't wait to see old pictures of Wall Street from 1800. And we're in a black and white. Then Ross, the designer here, he's going to fit them in, and that's going to be sort of what we're going to have as a theme. We're going to have drinks named after the that kind of thing. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. But I think the message from that, and what I learned from myself there, is that it's not always. You always assume it's the highest dollar, but it's not. It's not always, especially people that already have it, right? Because at that point, I mean, does their life get better because they have $3 more million? I don't think so. And they're philanthropists as well. They're sponsoring things and things,
That's amazing.
So anyway, I got a little equity there. But
what's so real quick, going from and I mean, which 103 units, it's nothing to joke about, right? Like that's major. When even before you got into commercial, what are some pointers that you have for somebody out there that wants to make that jump? How was it going from residential to now commercial?
Commercial is a lot tougher and it's a lot more expensive, and it's harder to qualify for as well. This building here, I think, is somewhere around 18 million invested here. Now you do get some help, but now you'd be dealing with cities and governments, and you're. I took $2.1 million from TIF, tax incremental financing, which comes out of the taxpayers, which I think is a good deal for the taxpayers because they're getting paid over time, and we turned the tax base here from $12,000 to several $100,000 in revenue. But it's hard explaining that to people when they're not going to get taxes for a while. So I think it's a lot more intricate. Plus you have to have lawyers, attorneys, and it's more difficult. And that's why mostly companies do it, not individuals. Yeah. You don't see many like sole proprietors that own several buildings and that kind of thing. So but I don't work that well with others. So being a sole proprietor for me is kind of the way to go.
So you've done, for the most part, up to this point, a lot of it is on your own?
Up to this point and beyond it, I've never done anything with anyone else.
Really? Wow, that's impressive.
Nobody has any ownership. So I mean, I have a licensing deal with Brian Boitano, but he's not an owner. He gets cut for sales, but he's not an owner. So,
and you met him when you were skating.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he was a big star back in the days.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and he's on South Park too. So.
He's also smart.
Yeah, but no, I haven't taken any money for anybody. It's been my own money, and then some bank loans, obviously. But no funding from friends, no funding from outside investors.
How has that made an impact? Because a lot of the shows that we've done, you hear a lot of partnerships going on.
Seriously, just so insane to me.
Yeah. So if you could give us some pros and cons about doing it all solo.
Doing it all, for one thing, I don't have a flag here. If you notice, it's not a Marriott, it's not a Hyatt, it's not a Hilton. So I can get together with the GM and we can change policy like that. You can't do that anywhere else. If I have a board and I have 10 investors and everyone owns 5%, 6.3, I got to get with them every time and explain. For example, during COVID, I can make decisions instantly. I'm like, you know what? We need to close because it's dangerous and it's, and I don't have anyone fight me on that. Still pay my bills. I didn't miss any payments. Payment, but I don't have to argue with anybody about that. When I go to expand to Kansas City or Baltimore or wherever I go next, that's my own decision. So I own it all.
I love that.
Slower because I have to come up with the money, and eventually, 20 million here, 30 there. It's expensive.
Yeah. Man, I love that. So actually, let's take it this way here. You wake up tomorrow morning, which today is the 31st. This will air probably in February, but today is the 31st, guys. I was going to wear this hat, but I decided not to. Yeah. But tomorrow, and it's a bad day tomorrow to choose, but tomorrow you wake up on the 1st of 2022 and your bank account is at zero. What's your next move?
Okay, first of all, I would be at an advantage over a lot of people because I've had proven results, right? So it's a little tougher. Like I could go to people and start asking for money at that point, but I don't think I would. I think I'd get a sales job, any kind of sales job that didn't have a ceiling on it, right? So on earnings potential, I'd start over again. And at that point, I would try to buy smaller properties and rent them and build it up the same way.
So the
fundamentals.
Formula.
Yeah.
What is like a typical day look like for you? Like, do you have a morning routine?
Well, I work in Merrill Lynch, so I have a full day at an investment bank, right? And I think my one strength is I can delegate. So I have good managers. I have all great managers, and we take care of them and make sure that they're compensated in all different ways, but not just financially, but that they have autonomy, freedom, and ownership and input. So my input, if you have a good business, your participation, the less participation that's required on your part, the better, more valuable your business is.
Can you repeat that one more time? That's a nugget right there. Wow.
You need to hear that.
Jesus. Go ahead and say that again.
A good business is characterized by as little involvement of the owner as possible. The more ownership of the owner and the more it takes to make the business run, the less valuable the business is. Just because it can't go into perpetuity, right? Now, that's a little bit what I worry about Tesla, because and Warren Buffett too. Same thing with Berkshire Hathaway. You remove either one of them, I mean, I could see 30-40% sell-offs in that night.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Right? Because they're the visionaries. Apple was a little different with, they lost the CEO, but they had built a pretty good foundation of engineers. Some of those companies, they're almost like dictatorships, right?
Yeah.
And a valuable business runs without the input of the mastermind. It just does.
I love that. Earlier you were talking about you were giving me like a dollar example. Can you say that on the show? How you said if I make $1, you do something different than somebody that just works a regular job. If you could,
how it's different. You mean
the example you were giving us off air.
So then I'm going to start sounding a little bit political, but $1. If you
we don't do that here, man. We just drink beer.
I'm not going to say that. Yeah. $1 earned by someone who doesn't need to put that dollar into motion because they have excess cash, they're going to save that dollar. What I was saying is that the sign of a strong economy or a strong country is a strong middle class. And I think it's all built from the middle class. I happen to be from a union family. My dad made union wage, and that was the difference. And my sister in Columbia, me ending up being able to at least, have some stable upbringing and so forth. So I think that the strength of middle class is where things are coming from and where you get the real benefit, because they take the extra money or the increase, they spend it, and that benefits the rich people who own the stocks. And if you own Home Depot, Walmart, and Costco, you're going to benefit from that too, or Apple, because they're going to go out and buy iPhones and spend $1,000 on iPhone. Who benefits? The people who I own 5,000 shares of Apple or whatever it is, right? So that's what you see. And working at Morgan Stanley, I work with the private client wealth group, which is essentially only the wealthy people, unfortunately. Yeah. And you see what they do. They invest and they buy more. And that's why, you were saying the rich get richer, and that's true, but it doesn't really have to be that way. If you look at most people who become excessively wealthy, it's first generation. It's not necessarily once you inherit, you go down.
Yeah. It was a third generation.
Third generation usually gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
Look at the Rockefellers. Who the hell are they? No one even knows. He owned, Rockefeller was richer than anybody alive today. Yeah. Richer than Bezos or anybody.
Yeah.
And now they're basically depleted. Yeah. Because, when you struggle or you have to work, that keeps you hungry. The next generation, not much good comes from a trust fund. Not much at all.
Yeah.
I'm looking with my kids. I have a 11-year-old and a 9-year-old. And I'm trying to gauge, what they're like. My daughter seems to be a bit sappy. And, but there's certain expectations. Like, I went with my son to pick up rents because the guy that works for me was with his family and this was low income housing. And we drove up to it and son stayed in the car. He said, I'm going to stay here. I said, why? He goes, I don't like this hotel. It's not a hotel. It's an apartment house. Yeah. I said, why? He goes, this doesn't seem very nice, very nice, Well,
that's an awesome way to start the.
Yeah. I said, well, like, okay. He said, but then he asked me a question I didn't like. Why do people live here? I said, because it's expensive to live. They need something affordable where they can still get food. They can have clothing. They can, a roof and that kind of thing. Now, how do I explain to my son? He stays at Four Seasons or Ritz-Carlton here. You know what I mean? It's a hard explanation, but that's the reason that generation goes down.
Yeah.
Because now he's going to be entitled. He's going to go to get a job. He'll expect this person at the job may or may not have him. And there'll be a grinder that's coming up who's willing, that's from that estate. Hopefully.
So what did you say to him?
I told him, I just explained how it works. I said, basically, you haven't really earned anything, but you're going to have to compete with people. You're going to get a leg up because I will pay for your college and so forth. But outside of that, I'm not going to, you're going to have to make your own
my daughters, they'll jokingly like, yeah, we're rich, right, Dad? And I'm like, and me and the wife will look at each other like, we're rich. You better start
figure it out.
But they still live the same way because they're riding,
And I think it's that entitlement, like you said. That's obviously the worst thing you could do is hand over kids money just because you have it like that. It's like the saying, teach somebody how to fish instead of giving them a fish because it'll be gone.
Well, I've done kind of a hybrid model because I thought about this. I live in a middle class neighborhood, so I live in one of the houses I bought when I was 27, and the kids go to school at a middle class, something like Granada High School, maybe lower than that.
Why?
Actually, because I want them to be around kids who are working class, whose best friend's dad's a cop, one of them's a teller at a bank, and that kind of thing. I want them to. It's still good education, like they score good on the scores, but they're not.
I love that.
They're not snobby kids.
I love that.
Now, here's the hybrid part. I drive a Wraith, so they do ride around in a Wraith. So there's that. But that's my rate. They know that's the difference. But then, most of the time, I would say, the average income at their school is probably 45, 50,000, something like that. It has been better.
Yeah.
And hopefully, when they go to high school, they'll smoke weed and not do coke.
That's what my wife and I talk about. Like, God, just smoke weed.
We're getting a thumbs up from the audience.
So that's it.
You get some weed. I get some weed.
I do think it's a challenge. It's a challenge with kids. I don't see my clients. Look at the kids that are grow up rich. Not a lot of them are very successful afterwards. They're just not. And so I want my kids to have. Most gains are made through pain, right?
Yeah.
So the less pain you have, the more atrophy. Everything. You're working out, you have pain of working out, but then you get stronger muscles, right? You run, it's painful, but then you get better lungs and better endurance. Same thing with work. You don't get much through comfort. You don't get anything through
comfort. The power of being uncomfortable. Go grab the book.
Yeah, you're putting it do you guys do you talk a lot about finances at home with the kids? Are they involved?
So real quick with that question, because one thing, and this is something that I'm starting to do. I read it somewhere that hey, I'll give you $10 if you clean the bathroom, which I've never paid my kids to do chores. I think that's the worst thing you could do, but that's what people tend to do. One thing that I'm incorporating more this year is I'll pay you $10 for every self-help or success book that you read.
I heard about that one.
And that I'm gonna see how it goes. But so far, I mean, my little one started reading my book. She's like, the discount. I'm like, no, you should read my book. What the hell?
if I paid for Fortnite or one of those things, Roblox, I'm sure they'd be millionaires because all the girls want to play with Fortnite. Yeah. But I do, they do have to earn chores. They don't max them out, which bothers me. They but I do make them have their own money and save it and spend it and do that kind of thing. Some of it I still have to give them, but you're going to buy a present, decide how much, you're going to spend, how much your budget is. And 10% of it, what nice do you want to do for somebody? You want to donate it. I mean, if you go to church, you want to give it to church too, or do you want to help someone that needs it, more than you? Pokemon cards. He's got a lot of Pokemon cards he collects. And he's willing to give his crappy Pokemon card. Why don't you give one of your best Pokemon cards?
Give that Charizard.
Yeah. The Paul version.
So I think it's more fortunate to grow up for a kid, definitely middle class over upper class, 100%.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I love that.
And even if I had to pick between upper and lower middle, I'd say lower middle.
And this question I'm going to ask you kind of goes with what we're talking about. Let's say that because a lot of the audience that we have are people that are maybe haven't made their first move yet, or maybe just getting started. What would, if you were to tell somebody out there that has not done anything yet, what are some tips that you would give them to get to where you're at?
Well, the first one, and I did read and we talked about it earlier, I think read the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Cash Flow Quadrant. And it talks about passive income. And if you're trying to get wealthy, my goal is not trying to get wealthy. I'll tell you what it is. I'll tell you what it is in a minute. It's never been my goal to get wealthy.
What is it?
I'm going to tell you in a minute.
No, tell me right now. I'm sorry.
Let me go with Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
So Rich Dad, Poor Dad is going to help you how to separate time from income. Because your time, you only have so much time. I mean, and in the book, you talk about how a surgeon and someone who works at McDonald's is similar. The surgeon just gets more per hour.
Right.
And passive income. So right now, I need to get paid while I do this podcast because you're not paying me. So I need to make sure there's some passive money going in.
Don't say that on air. We are.
Yeah. My goal is to employ more people. More so than even give them money, because the more people I employ, exponentially, I help their kids, I help them. So my goal is 1,000 people employed. At the moment, I'm probably indirectly over 200. And
wow,
that's
pretty cool. Man.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then grow that. And and all the managers compensated well above average, and I want my wages to be at least 10 to 15% above market, and I want them to enjoy where they work. Are they going to get more output that way? And the way we look at it is top down. So it's my job to serve the general manager. The general manager has to serve the employees, and the employees have to serve the customers. And if I have a choice between, I will always take the employee side over the customer, always. Now, as long as you're doing the right thing. But if you get a customer complaints because you do this and that, you choose the employees because they're, basically most people, the reason they don't like to work jobs is because they don't feel appreciated.
Yep.
They don't. That's so big. That's huge.
That's the main thing. It's not money. Look, everyone knows that you work at the front desk, that job pays between $14 and $18 an hour, depending on what. Yeah. That's what it pays, right? Yeah. So you can't. I can't go pay them $30 because if I do, my profit margin.
Exactly.
Right? But what I can do,
then they won't have a job.
But what I can do is if somebody's sick and can't make their deductible, we can get that for them, or we can do things that we know. I need to know that that's Roxanne working there. I should know that as the owner. Yeah. I know the name of every single employee in the family and do something about every single one. And the moment I can't do that anymore, I shouldn't expand, right? Because I'm running an independent boutique firm. I'm not, hotel. I'm not running a Hilton or Hyatt where you're just basically social security number and, Cornhusker, by the way, they laid off 75 people during the downturn. We don't even have turnover here. No one quits. Where are they going to go?
I might apply, man.
You can't afford you, but I think that's the thing. But I get a buzz off of that.
Would you say, is that kind of like that top tier for you is to help others? Like, it seems like it's a constant,
it's a theme
that you see where it's like, okay, obviously first when you were driving around and you couldn't afford even the pop, and pop means soda. You should know that since you're in Lincoln. But since that, when you couldn't afford that pop to where you're at now, I mean, that struggle. So would you say that's definitely a theme?
Yeah, but not everybody. I've always been sort of an entrepreneurial type individual. Not everyone is that. Some people are meant to have, and they're more comfortable having. Like, I don't sleep as well as everyone here. they go home, they don't have to worry about, necessarily, I have to worry about everything.
That's
but
huge.
some people, sometimes you make the mistake of thinking, oh, you have to be, business and you have to, that's not, this is the show here, but that's not true.
Yeah.
Like some people are better to be an employee and you can eat well or you can sleep well, but you can't do both. So which is it going to be, right? Choose it. I like to eat well. So that's the deal, right?
Wow.
but I mean, there's nothing wrong with, you can't have 20 chiefs. You need Indians, right? And you have one chief and then you fill in Indians and a lot of people are Indians. You have to figure that out when you have a kid. Some people force their kids certain areas. Maybe they're not meant to do that. Maybe they have, they're going to go a different direction. Yeah. So I don't care. As long as my kids are doing something productive, I want them to choose what they like.
Yeah. Very important.
Yeah. And I'll help them. If they become the greatest poet, but they don't have money, I'll help them.
Yeah. I read I think it was Amara that shared on her story. Shout out to Amara and Josh. She posted something about basically don't be so rough on your kids, asking them, when they're in their early teens, asking them, what are you going to be when you grow up? It's more like, how about asking them, hey, how is being a kid?
Yeah.
What
or personality characteristics. What do you enjoy doing? I like serving people. Okay. Well, I like science. Maybe a doctor, a nurse, maybe, I don't know. But you got to, it'll answer itself, but you don't try to push,
as long as they don't do cocaine, right?
Well, I don't want to do cocaine. But as long as you push it, you don't want to push a square peg into a circle. It's just, they'll let you know. Yeah.
Besides Rich Dad Poor Dad, what's one book that you would say that changed your outlook and kind of got you where you're at?
Okay.
Do you read a lot?
Yes.
It sounds like
I do. But I already told you that I rate Cash Flow Quadrant higher than Rich Dad Poor Dad. If I look at other,
because I feel like cash flow is more
detailed,
granular. It gives you a program to follow as to where Rich Dad is more of the mindset.
If you're a salesperson, there's a book called For What It's Worth, and I'm not even sure the author's name. It's out of print. You can still get it through Amazon, but it's the best sales book you'll ever get because it tells you step by step how to conduct your day, and it's written by somebody. And there was a guy named Bob Dunwoody who might be 100 by now. I don't know, or dead, but he was somebody. Now I sound like Elon Musk talking about Bob. I didn't even know you wanted to.
He watches and shows comments on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a good sales. But I think being a salesperson too, a lot of it is no one wants to be sold anything, right? Nobody. I don't like to be sold. You don't like to be sold. Nobody does. They don't want to be sold. People don't come to you, because they want to drill. They need a hole. So you got to, right?
For real.
That's right. So you want to take it and you want to put people in a situation where there's mutual benefit because there's not mutual benefit. Like sometimes we have discussions because I charge fees on investing and they want to know what that is, but there needs to be a benefit to them and there needs to be a benefit to me. I mean, and don't say it's free because that's the worst thing you can say.
Yeah.
You get screwed by nothing's free, right? Except this podcast. But but other than that, that's a focus. Yeah. But we have our sponsors.
He's joking, guys.
But I think, people will find their way when they'll know. You'll know if it's meant for you because the way you feel. If you're looking forward to it on Monday, like I don't like Sundays because I want Monday to come. People.
Well, I was kind of wondering, like, why are you still working a job when you clearly don't need to?
Well,
I had that question.
So
good thing you asked it.
So, I'll tell you a couple of things.
Texted him.
Couple things. One, and I will say this now that you said that. So I'm on the Forbes list for best financial advisors.
Whoa, hold on. Why didn't we start with that?
Yeah, like Jesus.
Yeah. I'm on the Forbes list for Merrill Lynch last year. I'm up for an interview this year. I'll see if I get on again. It should be an improved year. Sweet. So
that's awesome.
The reason I do it is because I think I can do a better job than most people can taking care of my clients, and I like working with them, and I enjoy investing. So I'm gonna do that, and then.
And I feel like you're definitely changing lives.
Yeah, and it's also hedging too, because financial markets and stock and bond markets are not correlated perfectly with real estate markets. So, for example, during COVID, I was getting killed here. I was getting killed in real estate, but I had a record year at Merrill Lynch. So, help offset. I didn't have to cut pay here. I could take my own check and pay these people. I took my bonus, and my whole bonus went to all the employees because they needed it though. My rent was paid.
You said
I don't have a really big mortgage either. It's $2,000.
You said one of your favorite books is For What It's Worth for Sales. I can definitely tell you're big on leadership. Like, do you have a favorite book that's the theme?
Leadership book. All the Warren Buffett books are great for investing, but also they give you some feel for leadership. I do like, there's a few cheesy ones out there though that I think would, and I say it's cheesy, but I think it helps people on a beginning level because they speak a little bit lower. Some of Grant Cardone's stuff for entry level, I think is pretty good. But eventually, he's the 10X guy. Yeah. But eventually, I think you need to sort of graduate.
I think with me, I like that mindset of 10X. I think. That's
huge. And I listen to Grant Cardone. I listen to him all the time. If you're looking for somebody impressive story on somebody that worked their way up, Jack Ma. That's the best one. And you can go on YouTube. It's free. You just go on YouTube and log in, listen to a couple commercials, but. Jack Ma's story is the best. Jack Ma's story is the best. That's the best story I've ever heard of anyone.
Really, I don't know anything about his story. I mean, I know who he is, but I've never.
I know a little bit of his story, but I was gonna say he's very low radar. Like he's
super.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
He's a humble person.
Apparently, his events though, he sings for.
Yeah. I meant he's underrated. Is what I meant.
Yeah. So Jack Ma started Alibaba, but originally he was in China and not like Beijing or one of the New York, LA type cities. Yeah. He was in some mainland city somewhere where they had some tourism for some specific reason. I can't remember what that is.
Yeah.
But what he decided to do was he was very poor. Like they didn't even have meat. And he would go to this bridge where the tourists would come and he would offer to be a free guide for the tourists. He didn't want money. What he wanted was to learn English because all the tourists would come over. And so he taught himself English, but he's an unusual looking guy. He applied to Harvard 10 times, got turned down every single time. Tried to work at KFC. They took 22. There was 23 applicants. He was the 23rd. Didn't get that job. Turned out by the police force. He did become a school teacher at a very low end school, and then sort of worked his way up. Started this company in his apartment, and it turned into Alibaba, which, in my opinion, it's better than Amazon.
Bigger than
Amazon. Yeah. So, and he's super interesting. If you listen to him on YouTube, for people that are like feeling like, oh, I'm too poor to get there. I don't have any resources. You listen to him and you think, shit, I have a lot more resources.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the things I said, me being from El Salvador, I was on Bigger Pockets a couple episodes ago. It's a big real estate podcast. I'm not sure if but when one thing I said was I didn't start from zero. I started from -100, and it's as easy as English, for example. I didn't know English. Matter of fact, and I don't care, I'll say it on air, like next year, I'm going to become a U.S. citizen.
Right,
like, so thank you. And it's one of those where it's like, those are the little things people take for granted. And it's like, no, that's starting from zero.
Yeah, but I think that there's some advantages to being a foreigner. I mean, you look at most foreigners and they go further than most Americans do. And then once they get here, but then their kids don't. Because they come here and give their kids comfort. Yeah. Comfort's the enemy of success. It really is. Anyone comfortable. I mean, you look at people that go further than anybody.
I gotta listen to this episode and edit all these little snippets.
About my book.
No, the comfort is the enemy of success. I love that.
But it is. And
I thought you were talking about my book. You're the least person. Like I said, my book is called The Power of Being Uncomfortable, and it's basically literally talking about being in that comfort zone and how the stuff that I've done. I give examples, which Dan has mentioned. I give examples of how I use the power of being uncomfortable to get to where I'm at.
You look at the greatest, people at anything, and all of them they go through plateaus and they don't plateau. You take sports people, right? Most sports stars, they get to a comfort level. They're making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. They're going to settle there, right? I mean, people that make under $60,000, $70,000 are less comfortable and happy than people that make over 70. But after you get to 100, 200, or 2 million or 20, it's pretty much the same, right? So people get comfortable there. Hey, I got a nice house. I got a nice car. I got this. I'm just going to chill out here. Now you look at like Rafael Nadal and Federer and Curry and LeBron James and that. They're just driven to keep going. Or if it's business people, Elon Musk, I mean, he had enough money. It's not money. So those people, it's about
or
purpose.
Even where you got that building from. Like it wasn't about the money when you purchased
it's not about the money. It's about legacy and ego at that point.
Yeah.
But if you get to a certain point, it's about, hey, how am I going to be remembered? Right?
Yeah.
Or am I going to be remembered?
Yeah.
Because that's most people's fear is being forgotten, right? And most rich people, what they want is recognition. And I'll prove it to you. And I hate these things. You guys ever been to an auction and you got people that are raising their paddle and they don't want to buy that stuff. They just want to be seen paying for it and get the recognition. I much prefer the guy who takes 20 grand anonymous, puts it in there and that's better. But I think the comfort is definitely the enemy, because at some point, you have to have a purpose, and it better not be money. If your purpose is money, you're not going to do very well, man. No, and you're going to annoy people.
That's so true. That's so true. That's literally how we started this podcast too.
Yeah,
was to educate people and hopefully open somebody's mind.
Well, yeah, and I've done all of it. I mean, I grew up, I loaded trucks, I worked loading equipment. I did everything. I've worked washing dishes at the fairgrounds, Alameda County. I worked there, the job in the summer during the first for wine glass tasting and all that stuff. So I don't know, I've done everything. And I feel, I mean, we got one guy here that we think he's younger, that might want to manage Kansas City. And he's got a lot of ability. He's in his 20s, but he seems to be on point.
What makes him a good candidate?
He's altruistic and hardworking, and he's always looking out for other people, not himself. There you go. Yeah. Right. But I said, okay, think you might want to be a manager. That's a big responsibility. And you are a young guy with, only 5-6 years experience. So you're going to work in laundry for a month, then you're moving to housekeeping for a month. Then you're going to work in the bar back, and then you're going to do every single position before I consider you for the main position, because I want people to see that you can do that. Otherwise, you can just work front desk, because he was front desk. But I need to know that you know all the positions and that you can say to people, I understand that.
Yeah.
When these women are doing 15 rooms a day, making 20 beds, you need to know that's a lot. Yeah. And you need to have some empathy for that.
I've had some people approach me about wanting to get into it. So I mostly do house flipping. Mm-hmm. And I've had people like, oh, I want to get started, but I don't want to do any of the work. And I'm just like, you have to do the work. Yeah. Because
at first you can't afford
it. You can't afford it at first, but even if you can, it's just not worth it, because now you know all the little technical pieces that go together. Mm-hmm. And so when you start hiring contractors, you can appreciate, why does it cost me so much to hire someone to do the floor? Have you ever fucking put a floor down? Yeah. Like, that shit is hard, So like
ripping a floor up can be tough.
Yeah. To go along with that, they on the Bigger Pockets, the last show.
Oh, you're on Bigger Pockets?
Huh? I was on Bigger Pockets, episode 542. Check it out. The last episode not the last one. One of the episodes, they brought up that point, and I'm going to ask you that question. Do you think that going back to where you were, because my belief is at the beginning, you have to hustle, hard work. I mean, blood, sweat, and tears, literally, I don't care. Start there, because that's going to teach you kind of what you were saying. But then you're going to start working smart, that's where you're at now. Do you think that if you would have started with working smarter sooner, you would be further? And let's take out I couldn't afford it at the time. However, like, let's say whatever you did, like, you did it. Like, do you think that would have gotten
you? If someone would have given me the start?
No, if you would have started from the beginning, working smarter, how you are now. For example, you're not gonna sit here and put flooring down in your new hotel.
So that's not totally true, because I have helped actually the handyman Ryan repair the floor. So you got to remember something. Me spending 20, 30 hours repairing the floor is not a good use of my time. Me spending 1 hour with Ryan, who's the guy here, is a great use of my time. Because then he sees me as someone who is part of the process, and he takes ownership.
A leader.
Yeah, and he takes ownership, right? Because he feels like he is part of the process, but he feels that way, that I'm involved. I mean, the worst thing you can do is be people like to know that you know them, right? That they feel like part of something.
Yeah.
Is that right, Billy? Right. Yeah. Otherwise, they feel detached.
Yeah.
You don't want people to be detached. You want them to be bought in. Because what we're going to do, these people from Kansas City, when we hire them, they're going to come here and they're going to learn to be and treat customers the way our people do. And then we're going to send some of these people here, and then that's going to become the culture. Now, Baltimore's going to be a tougher culture. That's East Coast. It's totally different.
Yeah.
Right. And we want this Lincoln culture there. I mean, we want Lincoln culture if we end up in London, everywhere.
Yeah.
This will be the headquarters, because that's what, we have a 4.8 rating right now, 4.7 at Beverly Wilshire. That's not bad.
Yeah.
And it's mostly not because we're better in Beverly Wilshire. They're better. Physically better, but our employees are better.
How'd you end up in Lincoln?
Just gonna ask that.
My wife went to Lincoln High. She's from here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was your first impression when you first came here?
Lincoln, I like it. I like the size of it. I like the people. They're friendly. I thought they lacked some places to go. And I like Barrymore's. I've been to Barrymore's. I thought that was cool. But I decided to open this to be more, I thought this would be a nice touch. I thought it lacked something on the high end. We only have 49 rooms, so it's not like we have to fill 200 rooms because there's probably a niche for it. I don't think we could fill 200. Well, you could for football, but I mean, or Eric Church. But I thought it'd be a place that we could have that, and Garth Brooks stayed here actually.
Oh, nice.
And,
wow.
Yeah.
When he did the concert.
I tell you what, something about Garth Brooks, and I wasn't here for that, but he did the concert. Yeah, they were here 3 days in the band. It was just him and the band, and the crew was somewhere else, and the manager was here. But when he came through that back alley there, and the first thing he did was walked in the back kitchen, said hi to the cook, said hi to the bartenders, introduced himself. I'm Garth. I'm going to be staying here for a few days, as if they didn't know. They didn't know, actually, because we hadn't told them.
Jesus. Surprise.
Yeah. Then he went to the front and he talked to the night out. It was 2 a.m, so he talked to the night auditor, and I talked to her for a bit, this and that, and then went up to his room, and also to our maintenance guy, who's a massive fan, who was sitting in front of his room all night at security, and asked him if he needed coffee. Do you need anything? This, I mean, he's just cool, and I was happy to hear that.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. It reminds me of like that meme that goes around that says, like with the janitors, I think
treat them with the same respect as the CEO.
Yeah, treat them with the same respect as the CEO.
I treat the janitors better than the CEO, because the janitor, if you don't have a clean bathroom or clean floors, you know what I mean? In fact, here on the bonus system, the housekeeping comes first, and they're actually rated at 4.9. So housekeeping first, and then we go to kitchen, then it goes to the front desk, then the manager, then me. So they might get something, we might not. Because if you don't have a clean place, you don't have I mean, I don't care what it is. Yeah. Imagine the Four Seasons with dirty bathrooms. Yeah. What's the point of, it doesn't.
I used the bathroom right before we started. I was impressed. I was like,
was it clean?
Damn. I was like, it was immaculate.
Was there mints in the jar?
There was little roll towels and everything.
He pocketed it.
But that makes a difference. That makes a difference. Because I want an extra $50, $60 a night from you. So
you know what I'm telling you? I immediately. So I'm like washing my hands, and I'm looking for like the little towel dispenser, like the paper towel dispenser.
Yeah, we roll them.
And there was none. And I was like, okay. So I'm like sitting here, like my hands are like, what do I do with my hands? And I'm like, oh shit, there's towels rolled. And I was like, this place is fancy. And immediately I was like, I should bring my wife here. I thought it's funny, dude. I thought the same thing.
The beds are Four Seasons beds. The same people that make Four Seasons make the beds, and the sheets are Egyptian cotton and all. But that's our niche here. Now, if I was doing something else, I would still be clean.
Yeah.
But you'd have paper dispenser.
Well, what I'm saying is like, it's crazy about that little thing, that little difference was enough to be like, oh, my wife would love this. So boom, now you got a customer. I want to come stay here because
Valentine's weekend. Maybe.
There you go. Oh, good idea. Look at this guy.
Salesperson. It's funny that you said that cleanliness. It makes me think of I call her aunt, but she's probably my second cousin. I don't know. It's a cultural thing, right? But so she's older. She's in her 80s, I want to say. One thing she always used to say that my mom says it now is, if you have running water, your place should be clean. It's so true.
It is. Yeah.
It's so true. Because I mean, at the end of the day,
there's no excuse for it not to be.
So
cleanness should be a baseline, right? But unfortunately, it's not. I mean, during COVID, that became a really big deal. But we were already compliant and clean, and we were spraying the rooms up. Everything was, it was good. So we that's one of the big things. And the rates we charge are a lot higher. They're going to be higher in Kansas City yet. So we need to live up to that standard. And basically, we want to be guest focused. We want to give the guests what they want. If they want something different, we want to provide.
Yeah.
If they ask about where to eat, I want bartenders who give them a rundown, call over, make the reservation for them, to those kind of things. Then when they're done, they come back here, go back to the bar, thank them, it's a big tip. I mean, that's what just happens, right? Yeah. So that we want that to be the case too. So
that service is huge, man.
It is.
Real quick story. When I spent some time out in China, when you talked about Jack Ma, that dude's a rock star out there, obviously.
It should be.
And so I actually proposed to my wife out there.
Nice.
And we spent the weekend in Beijing. And we're like, we're going to go see the Great Wall and just like celebrating that night. And the night before, my wife had left her cell phone in the cab. And we didn't realize it till like the next morning, like, oh shit, her phone's gone. And I don't know how they did it, but the hotel that we had stayed at was able to track down the cab company, figure out who the cab driver was. The guy still had it, but he didn't speak English and didn't know like what to do with his phone.
They speak Chinese.
And so they ended up sending a driver like 2 hours away to pick up her phone and like bring it back to us. And I was like, wow, like that was just amazing amount of service. And like, if I ever go back to Beijing, I'm never staying anywhere else. Like that's where I'm gonna go,
Exactly.
So,
that's awesome. And I mean, I think we have a very diverse group here too. We have every ethnicity, every sexual orientation.
Yeah. You said your family's from Colombia?
And my dad's.
Okay. What real quick to wrap up the show, because I know you got to go. But what was the teachings like at home growing up? Where's this entrepreneurship thing taught to you, or when was that seed planted?
My dad wasn't an entrepreneur type.
So it was just hard work.
He was more of an employee mentality of hourly and bonuses for overtime and Saturdays time and a half. He was he wasn't a business person. He did have a sister who lived in New York City, who bought and sold antiques, and she actually became a millionaire buying and selling antiques without speaking English.
Oh wow!
But she was very good at identifying, and she went through books. This is before internet, but she would go over to Spain and Paris and buy and sell, and you want this, you want that, match you up, take 10% from each side, that kind of thing. And she was, so I think maybe that's where I get that. I mean, I think now I don't want to get in, say being an entrepreneur is like being a painter or a singer where you kind of have to know how, or you have to do that. I think you can get better at it, but I think there are people that are more natural.
This is how your brain works.
Yeah. But I do agree that, I definitely agree that hustle will beat talent any day.
Yeah, but hustle and talent will beat everybody.
Oh, man, facts.
Michael Jordan, right, or something like that. And Ronaldo, the soccer player Ronaldo is incredible. And he's, so if you do both, but hustle over talent for sure. But also delegation. Can you position people? Most people are afraid. Like, I hope that every person I have makes more money than me, and if they're in my clients. But I also hope that everyone around me is better than me at everything. Right? What do you want to be better than somebody higher? You want them to be better than you. Right?
I love that.
And all that. So I mean, I'm not technical. I'm not good with my hands. I can't build things. Can't draw. Can't sing. I mean, kind of know those things. Skate, though. Yeah, what is it? What was the most interesting man? Remember those commercials?
Yeah.
Find out what you don't do well and don't do that thing.
That's so true.
Sure. But I think anyone can improve themselves, right? And a slight improvement for somebody doesn't mean they have to turn it into $1 million business. But what if they turned it into a $2,000 a month improvement? Yeah. $1,500. That could still be meaningful.
Yeah.
That would be that would be all of your discretionary money. Maybe you go to Disneyland with that. I don't know. Maybe you put
$500 out it, and shit, even less is life changing for some people. A month.
Well, yeah, of course. And you could do that with some effort. You don't have to be. You don't have to be. One of these top gurus.
Michael Jordan and stuff. I love it, Nick. Well, as much as I hate to leave, man, this beer is awesome. But the conversation is better. Brewery, man. Castaneda, man. That's my favorite brewing for sure. But I have 3 questions for you at the end of the show, and then Dan will ask you a couple to wrap it up. But the first question for you is, if you were to put a 3-step formula to success, what are the 3 steps?
Okay, I can only pick 3.
Yeah.
Okay. The first one is to be honest, because if you're not honest, no one cares and no one believes you, and eventually your business is going to crumble, right? Mm-hmm. The second one is to have respect for and honor those who help you, and put them in front of yourself. Because when you do that, they're going to want to help you, and they'll guide you, and they'll lead you to people that you need. And then the third one is to be consistent to your word. If you say you're going to do something, you need to do it 100% of the time. I've never canceled an appointment. Ever.
Wow.
That's why I had to call you to confirm this.
You're like, darn it.
So those are the 3. And that goes along with being reliability. If you're reliable, people will trust you, and then they'll refer you.
I love it. Love it. Love it. And then my second question is more for wisdom. If you were to look at that youngster that you were and tell you something at that point that basically that everything's going to be fine, what would be some of the stuff you would tell your younger self?
Well, I probably would have, I probably would have spent my money a little bit better when I was in my 20s, because I spent a lot on parties and going out and doing that kind of thing. Unless you're doing it at the Kindler bottle service. You're good. Yeah. But I probably would have done that. I think I would have been more, I would have helped people as I was coming up earlier. I was a little bit in survival mode a lot of times. I would have been more open with advice and things I know, because it's better to learn from other people's mistakes if possible.
Yeah.
But books can do that. And I don't give people an out for saying, well, you can't say I can't afford a book. There's libraries here full of books.
I say that
you
all the time.
You can go down there. You
So
don't have
true.
I don't have enough money for Wi-Fi for my phone. My phone plan don't have a phone.
Yeah.
You can walk to the Lincoln Public Library. You can go to Nebraska Library. You can sit there and read for hours. Nobody will bother you. They have couches. It's free.
Yeah.
Right?
Love it.
So that the knowledge is there for free. And these people will put it in the books for you, and it's there. I mean, I would probably, I read a lot, but I think I'd even read more than I did.
Okay. I love those answers.
Yeah.
Love it. And then it kind of leads into my last question. If you were to write a book, what would be the theme? And if you have a title for it?
Actually, I already have one. I'm going to pull it on my phone here. I've been working on one. Yeah, I've been working on one, and a film script as well.
Oh,
really?
man.
Leonardo DiCaprio is going to have to lose some weight. Let me see if I can find it for you.
Okay,
I've kept it in my notes. I don't know that I'm going to do a book, but just in case, I've been.
So have you been drafting it up then?
No, I've just.
Or just
been,
ideas?
Just ideas.
Yeah. This is going to probably be later. I have to achieve more first.
Jesus. Talk about the power of being uncomfortable.
Yeah, hold on. I have it in here. I promise you it's here. Now I feel like, and I had the title. I want to give it to you the right way. I know the gist of it, but I had a title. It was from, oh man, I'm gonna have to give you the gist of it now, because why am I not singing here?
You could search on the top 2 of your notepad.
Yeah, I know that, but
because I love how he has a lot of notes. I'm not like
I
reading into the specifics, but
I keep notes.
I have a lot of notes too.
Basically, the gist of it is from from vending machines to skyscrapers.
I love that.
You know, it's so funny. I was just thinking of a title for this episode, and I was going to say from vending machines to hotels, but skyscrapers.
It's from vending machines to skyscrapers. And basically, it would involve this whole story. Now, I left out a bunch of failures because I had some failures in between.
Yeah.
It's a highlight show, but there was failures too. Most of the failures occurred when I underestimated something, the expense of something, the location of something wasn't right. So now I do everything based on location, because it's the only thing you can't fix. Like here, this location, this is the perfect location.
Oh, yeah.
Because your center, you got P Street, the university, close enough to the Haymarket, O Street's here, Arena's here, the theater's here, Lead. It's central, right? Power and Light District in Kansas City, we're going to be right in the Power and Light. This building. There's another building.
I'm going to have to stay there. I go there a couple times.
It can be a couple of years still, but that one there is the. I got that one. It's a watch family that's been in there since 1847, and I'm going to do some watch theme after them too. And I wasn't the highest bid there either. I was in the middle on that one, and I got that. So that one there is going to be pretty cool. It's going to be mostly suites, 20 suites, 10 mini suites, and 5 regular rooms. And it's going to be, it's right on Grand Boulevard where the Chiefs do their celebration and everything. So I'm really happy with the location there.
Chiefs, but
I'm not a Chief fan, but I mean, I can be.
We might be going to Kansas City.
I'll be a Chief fan now.
Yeah. Patrick Mahomes comes in, and
boom, Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Yeah, I'll my arm around him, the biggest turncoat of all time. But anyway, I think that location's important. There's those things, and those were some mistakes I made in the past. I had a very successful taco shop. I started it with actually. Do you have time? I'll tell you that one.
Oh man, yeah. So it's up to you.
so I had this rental houses, and I went and purchased this rental building on a Wednesday. On a Thursday, I got a violation in the mail. FedEx delivered, and I had to sign for it to go to court. And what happened was I got accused of running a legal taco shop at this apartment building, right? And I said, well, I'm not running it there. Were you the owner on record? I said, I just bought it yesterday. It doesn't matter. That's when the violation came. You're the owner on record. So it was Friday night around 5 o'clock. So I just drove down there to see what the hell was going on. And as I pulled into this apartment complex I purchased, there was a taco guy doing the trompo, and they had everything going in there. I walked to the front of it, and I said, hey, I own this place. They don't speak English. I go, fine. So in Spanish, I said, hey, I just bought this place. Such and what's going on? Oh, I got the notification too. The guy said, you've been here for 15 years doing this, but the city finally caught up to him. I said, well, why don't you just get a permit? All you have to do is get a permit. He said, I don't have paperwork. I'm illegal. I said, all right. Well, let me try the tacos then. So he gave me a couple of tacos, and they were really pretty good. I said, these tacos are really good. I said, do you want to have a business? Yeah. I said, okay. I'll be here Monday at 2 o'clock. I'm going to bring a broker with me, and we're going to drive up and down the street, find you a location in this Mexican neighborhood. Be partners. I'm going to do everything that requires permanent licensing. I'll get the rent, the lease. You're going to do all the food. I know you're reliable. You've been here 15 years. We'll do that. So we went there, found a place on a Tuesday. We opened Saturday. It cost me $27,000 to get all the gear and get everything leased and everything set up. I had my money back in about 9 weeks.
Damn.
All of it. Yeah, because we were split 50-50. This guy was doing okay, but he was only open on 2 nights a week.
Yeah.
So he went from like doing that. All of a sudden he's coming in Hugo Boss, Gucci, all that. and we're flying.
Came up.
And I told myself, because I told my wife, I'm going to get her whatever money I make from this, because it's found. If I make anything, she can have it. So I was making $8,000 a month on this cash, he's cash. So she was getting Gucci's on everyone. And I wasn't taking any money from it. I gave her all the money.
So everybody
but the guy was doing great. He ended up renting another house for me. He referred all these people. I started renting houses to the people that worked there. That, everyone was doing well. We had lines around, we had Vicente Fernandez came in. He had a show on there.
Wow. Rest in peace.
Yeah. Gio dos Santos. All these people were coming because they hear about this taco shop. But then I said, hey, one's good, a second one's be better. So opened a second one in a location that was too close to non-Mexican neighborhoods, and we didn't do well. It went under. So, and then this one here, the landlord wouldn't renew me because I didn't know the building. He wanted to raise my rate or make me pay double the value because we were doing well. So Beto was his name. He'd made enough money. He just went back to Mexico with his money, opened the shop there, and we closed it because I wasn't going to pay the extortion rent. And that's the problem with not owning the building. Now I always own the building. That was a mistake. I own the building. So here I own it. They can't come in here and go, oh, you're doing well. Let's go, 20. We go 60,000 a month instead of 30. No, we're not doing that. So anyway, I made a mistake there, but he ended up with a better life. Everyone else there did. One of the guys spun off and he's opened another place. That's his. Nice. I gave him all the equipment, just gave it to him because he'd worked there hard. So he's doing well. And I probably should have taken a cut.
A little 10% or something. You'd still be buying Gucci.
His name's Chuco. His name's Chuco, and he needed a job. And he was working for us every day. So now he started his own spinoff company, and we gave him all the equipment to start it. And he's doing really well. So I feel good about that.
Yeah, I love that. It seems like that was a theme through your story where
people.
Yeah, help. I think it's very important to mentor people because, obviously with how great you've made your life to be. Just changing those people that you have helped is I think that's that top tier that we talked about.
Yeah, but I get a buzz off that.
Yeah.
I like seeing that, I like seeing them improve. And I don't just mean financially, but
everything.
They should also help other people too, right?
Yeah.
But you do by hiring people. Whenever you hire people, that's actually the best charity you can do. Creating a job is better than giving someone $10 because they're able to create. I'm not saying there's never a reason to give people money. There is sometimes, but if you can give them a job, that's better.
Yeah.
And not try to cut their pay and give them a living wage, right?
No, I love it. And I'll ask one more question real quick. We have a hand up from the audience.
Well, I don't know if I should give the good quote from Nick from when I was trying to link you guys up. Yeah. So when I was trying to link you guys up, I don't know if the mic's going to
Here, come up here, man. Come up here. Welcome. It's all good. Come here.
So basically...
This is how we keep it real with.
So I went to high school with Nick. Nick and I mostly kept in touch through Facebook after high school.
Mostly because we liked agreeing on stuff.
Right. And we agree. We won't go into what that agreement involves. That's fine. But so basically, I live next door to Billy. Billy's just a fascinating dude.
Thanks, man.
As I got to know Billy and he started this podcast, and then just one time it hit me, Nick and I were on some thread, probably arguing with somebody else about something. By the way, Nick. No. And then so I was like, I just sent a message to Nick. I was like, hey, and I knew that he was here at the Kindler. I was going to come out here at some point, procrastinating. I still hadn't been out here till today, but so basically, I was telling Nick, hey, my buddy does a podcast here. It might be good for you to come on the podcast. He talks to entrepreneurs, et cetera, et cetera. And anyways, what Nick was trying to do, he was actually in Lincoln at the time, and he was leaving, I want to say the same day or later that day. And he's like, hey, can we set it up today? Let's get it going today. And I was like, wow, you want to do it today?
I can mark it off.
And he was like, wow, you want to do it today? I was like, that's crazy. And Billy couldn't do it that day. So
I couldn't.
Or one of these guys. one of these guys, they weren't quite.
It just wasn't a priority. They could have done it.
So right.
There you go. Let him know.
So here's the quote. And this is a beautiful quote I got from Nick just talking about this. So he said he thought it was my podcast. It's not, but it's all good.
Indirectly,
he said your podcast sounds interesting and of mutual benefit. And then he said this. I think this is a brilliant quote for all sorts of situations. He said, "I don't defer benefits until later if I can avoid it. They have a way of not coming to fruition."
That's true.
So it's like, it's like if the time is now, you got to do it. So we ended up scheduling it later. We got it going today, New Year's Eve.
No, that works.
Yeah. But I think that's a beautiful quote. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a great quote that I need to live by more myself.
The one excuse I hate.
All right,
that's awesome. That's a good one. Thank you.
All right.
The one excuse,
Big Rob on the mic.
My least favorite excuse that people give is I don't have time, because that's not true. Everyone has the same amount of time. It's either a priority or it's not a priority, right?
Yeah.
You could say I didn't have time to date that day. You didn't have it, right? He didn't have it. But if I said
New Year's resolution,
if I'd have said, oh really? Well, I have a sponsor here that wants to pay him $5,000, but we have to do it today. Yeah. You would have had time, right? Yeah. Or whatever that number is, or some kind of benefit. But you look for mutual benefits. Yeah. I mean, I can't say like nobody. It's a bad deal if nobody benefits.
Yeah.
Everyone should benefit, right? Yeah. In some way. I need to make a profit here. I deserve to.
Yeah.
But it should be on the back of great service where everyone else benefits too.
Yeah.
That's all. I mean, look, some people will say, oh, you're champagne socialist, they call me. You're a champagne socialist. Yeah. That's not true. I'm not against people making money. I'm against other people not participating.
Yeah.
That's what I'm against, right? That's where it's not fair. When you're running a banana republic or something, you're taking advantage of people. So long as everyone benefits, I don't mean to my degree, because I should benefit more than them, because but everyone should be better off. Right?
I love it. Love it. To wrap it up, another quick question that I have. Do you have, because I know Dan asked it, but he was referring more to like mental, or what's like a daily routine that you have? Some people do yoga or.
I get up in the morning around 5:15. I take my daughter to training for ice skating because she skates in the morning. I drop her off. I go walk, and then I get on podcast at night. Or I call people on the East Coast and the Midwest first because they're off. It's 8, 9 o'clock. I work my way back. Then I go home, shower. I start working at Merrill Lynch until late afternoon. Usually drop my son at football. Afterwards, if he's got training or something like that, and then usually at night I do that's when I read, and that's my usually my weekdays type deals. If I have to meet somebody, I try to meet them around like happy hour times, so that in the gap there.
Nice. Yeah. Love it. And then Dan has a couple questions to wrap it up.
Is there anything that our listeners out there can bring to you that is of value? You don't seem like a guy that's.
Why are you sitting all sexy, Dan? That's kind of weird. If you're watching. If you're not watching, check out how he's sitting.
Just because I was a figure skater from San Francisco doesn't mean stereotypes,
sponsor.
Could they bring me something?
Is there anything that of value that you're looking for right now, like a specific role that you need? Maybe even in the hotel here.
Well, we're expanding. We're going to need managers. Obviously, those are the two big things. The other positions, I think we attract people anyway, but usually they're people with experience that work in existing hotels that are looking for something a little bit different, right? But I think everyone, I just want to encourage people to find out what they love doing, because you have to love doing these things. If you don't love doing them, you're not going to do them well. So you start with that, and then you can attach, monetarily, you have to have money to pay bills and taxes. I mean, that's just a fact. But I don't look at success as how much you earn. I mean, I think safe to say Mother Teresa was a lot more successful than me. I mean, definitely, right? And a lot of people that or maybe some professor that's raised people up, or community organizers, or everybody. I mean, we get, the word success shouldn't be tied to financial, unless you say financial.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you don't, that's not success. The other thing is someone who can spend their day as they'd like. I'm not really at that point yet. I spend it kind of how I'd like, but it gets dictated for me. There's some people who can spend their day exactly the way they want it to be. That's a form of success too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's kind of how I look at it.
Okay, where can people find out more about you?
You can't.
You have like an Instagram.
I'm on Instagram, but I don't do much on Instagram.
You're a pretty private guy.
I don't want people asking me, to participate. I'm going to do my own thing, right? So,
Well, we're honored that you gave us time today, man. Yeah.
Or a website.
One thing you could do, you know what you could do to help me, just link. We'll follow you and get the Kindler Hotel to to follow and give us a push. That would be helpful.
Yeah.
If they inbox me, I usually answer. Some people inbox me on Instagram. I'll answer that. Questions and stuff like that. Take a call if they want. I want people to do better, you know, or at least do the best they can. Everyone has their own, their own sort of goals. And
we'll link your profiles then on the show.
You can people can friend me. My Instagram's open, so it's but I'm not real active in like giving huge advice.
He's like, I just put a picture with Madden here and there, but
it's just a one-off. You start talking about unicorn experiences, you can.
It's been great, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. I appreciate it. Thank you. This has been amazing. Everybody out there listening, make sure you guys check us out. We are on Instagram at that Minority Report Podcast. Also follow that on YouTube or subscribe to our YouTube. And we just started a Facebook.
We finally did a Facebook deal.
So we'll see how Facebook goes. I know we were kind of just staying on the Instagram thing, but follow us on Facebook too. Just look us up, The Minority Report Podcast, and let's get it, baby. Vamonos.
Your dreams, baby, let's get it. My hand to please don't segregate. Dressed in a suit, I can't relate. Minority Report, can't ignore being raised from poor and your credit score. My hand to please don't segregate. Dressed in a suit, I can't relate. Minority Report, can't ignore being